I want to teach you guys how to form the subjunctive. Please do not confuse this video with a video that's telling you how or why or when to use it. Right now, I'm just teaching you how to form it. Okay, how do you form it? You take the third person plural, in other words, the il or the elle plural form of the present tense. You chop off the ent, okay? So if it was the verb finir, ils finissent, you get rid of the ent, and you add the subjunctive endings. Now, those endings look just like the present tense endings for an ER verb, except for the I and the I on the nu and the vous forms, and they sound like ion, ier. And that ion, ier is very distinctive subjunctive sound. For example, with the verb finir, you have que je finisse, que tu finisses, qu'il finisse, que nous finissions, que vous finissiez, qu'elle finisse. Let me talk to you about this for a minute. Why is there que? Well, as you're going to learn later, when you figure out how to construct sentences with the subjunctive and why and when, you will learn that the subjunctive occurs in the second clause of a sentence, and that clause begins very often with the word que, which means that. Okay, so let's look at ER verbs. And you're going to notice how similar ER verbs are in the indicative and in the subjunctive. So let's remember the subjunctive endings. And here we have the verb regarder. Je regarde, tu regardes, il regarde, nous regardons, vous regardez, il regarde. And here they are in the subjunctive. Que je regarde, que tu regardes, qu'elle regarde, que nous regardions, que vous regardiez, qu'il regarde. And it's that ion, ier that's really interesting. I don't know if you noticed that they all sound exactly the same except for the nu and the vous forms. Okay, let's look at verbs, ER verbs like étudier. They end in an IER. Nothing special, but you just have to be on your guard and remember to keep that I there, okay? Because the I is not the thing you're chopping off, sorry. So we would be starting with the elles étudient down at the bottom, and we would chop off the ENT and then add the verbs. So we would have que j'étudie, que tu étudies, qu'il étudie, que nous étudions, que vous étudiez, qu'elles étudient. Now, I wish, oh, there you go. That was the noise for this. Okay, what was that? How do we pronounce that? I'm not saying que nous étudions, okay, que vous étudiez. I'm saying que nous étudions, que vous étudiez. Think of it as driving a car and you push your foot down on the gas pedal because you're trying to pass someone. It just lasts a little bit longer and you push a little bit harder, okay? Nous étudions, vous étudiez. Elles étudient, okay? Let's look at IR verbs. Okay, in the subjunctive, we do the same thing with IR verbs, okay? We've got a few here. Finir, to finish. Grossir, to get fat. Obéir, to obey. Réussir, to succeed, okay? And we have je finis, tu finis, elle finit, nous finissons, vous finissez, ils finissent. So how are we going to form the subjunctive? We're going to start with the third person plural, il, elle plural, finissent. And we're going to chop off the ENT, and that's going to be our subjunctive stem. So we're going to have que je finisse, que tu finisses, qu'il ou elle finisse, que nous finissions, que vous finissiez, qu'elle finisse. Okay, so you can really hear the subjunctive and you know immediately that an IR verb is in the subjunctive because it sounds so different. Listen, je finis, je finisse. Tu finis, que tu finisses. Il finit, qu'elle finisse. Nous finissons, que nous finissions. Let's do that again. Nous finissons, nous finissions. Vous finissez, vous finissiez. Elles finissent, elles finissent. The only ones that sound the same are the third person plural. Okay, what about RE verbs? Verbs like vendre, to sell, rendre, to turn in or to render, entendre, to hear. What about those verbs? Well, let's see. We've got je vends, tu vends, il vend, nous vendons, vous vendez, ils vendent. Notice that we do not hear the D or the S, right? Je vends, tu vends, il vend. But now we start to hear the D because there's a syllable that comes after it. Nous vendons, vous vendez, ils vendent. Okay? What's going to happen now? Well, we're going to start with that. We're going to chop off the ENT, and we are going to add the subjunctive endings. Que je vende. Now we hear the D. Why do we hear the D? Because there's a because there's an E after it. If there's a syllable after a D, or if there is a silent E, then we will hear it. Que je vende, que tu vendes, qu'ils vendent, que nous vendions, que vous vendiez, qu'ils vendent. And that's the end. Thank you for listening.